You know, white-tailed deer, they've been vocalizing since the beginning of time. It's nothing that we've created. But management practices across the nation have made this aspect of deer hunting a thrill of a lifetime for many. The squeeze and bleat and the brawler are the best 1-2 punch we have ever created. And together, they can be an effective tool during any phase of the rut, any time of the year. First, I'm going to start with the brawler. Simply put, it is the most technologically advanced grunt call ever produced. Plain and simple, the brawler, it's built like a buck. All right, let's slow down a little bit because I gave sight. You can do anything. All phases of the rut, doesn't matter. Basically, my theory early on, that early in my home state here in New York, October, there's not a lot of activity yet, but it doesn't mean the deer are not vocal. I like to use soft tending grunts. Generally speaking, those younger bucks are going to come in early and they're going to be starting to chase around a little bit, where the big bucks are going to look at them and go, you don't know what's happening, it's not time yet, just wait. The does are getting ready, but those younger bucks are still popping around trying to find, and they're experiencing this for the very first time in many cases. Now that's with it completely extended. You want to do a real young buck? Compress it down. No more noisy tube. Doesn't make any noise, all silent. Now there's a lot to do out there right now with the aggressive grunts, the bawl or the brawling sound of a buck. And I caution everybody, it depends on what your deer herd looks like in the ratio. In the Midwest, I use it all the time. Down in Texas, they have control of the deer herds and we can use those sounds. My home state of New York, I don't use it that often. Now we're killing some nice 2.5-year-old mature deer up here, but that's what we have to hunt. In the Midwest, you wouldn't shoot some of the deer we do here, but we're getting there. And all across the country, we're all doing the same thing. This call allows you, whether you're hunting Western New York, your home state, where it doesn't have the best, oldest age class of bucks, tone it down. When you get out to the Midwest or you're hunting farms that you know you have some bigger bucks on, don't be afraid to get that aggressive grunt, that sound he's making that he's looking for a fight, or he's telling other bucks to get away. It starts craziness going on when you have the right buck-to-doe ratio and you give that sound. But the most part, most deer hunters out there, you're going to want to just tending grunts early in the season. And just mix it up. The two calls together are fantastic. Basically, the buck I killed in New York this year is the one time I didn't hunt with a camera. He's a 4.5-year-old buck killed in New York. We'll flip a picture up here for you. But I saw him come out with 4 or 5 does. Got his attention with that. He walked over to a bush and just started ripping it up. Set that down, I went. He whipped his head right around. He walked right in from 100 yards to 8 yards, and I made a great shot. But it was a combination of the two calls. Now, as we get into that second rut, I am a lot more vocal during the second phase of that rut. Does are starting to pop in. They're starting to get ready. I am going to get a lot louder. I'm going to try to cover more ground and be more aggressive, following the intensity of the rut. I have no problem sitting in the stand doing a lot of blind calling. Because most cases, you're not always going to see deer, but he might be walking a circle around you. And if you wait every 10 or 15 minutes, you might have missed your window that he can hear you in. Don't be afraid to make these vocalizations. Deer do it all the time. But in the middle of the rut, I would even take my bleating heat and really get some sound going. Follow it right up by creating that illusion that there is a buck following a doe. It's a little more aggressive than what I do in the early stages of the rut, but basically anytime I see a deer and he's out of range, I am going to use a call to try to call him in. Get his attention, create that illusion that he's tending a doe. The last phase of the rut, you can do pretty much anything. The combination of rattling, grunting, and bleating when the rut is on, there's nothing better. And again, the brawler will let you do all of those calls and all those sounds any phase of the rut during anywhere you're hunting, anywhere in the country. If you only have smaller bucks and that's what you have to hunt, and you kill the biggest one on your farm, good for you. That's what you have to hunt. But this call will allow you to tone that down. The Brawler, it can do it all.
I think if we get right up this clearing, that wind's kind of on our right cheek going like this. They're either going to be right down in that thicket or over there. Let's just ease up right there. There's a big bottom right there and a big bottom right there. For them to be downwind of us, they're going to be right in this clearing. We're going to be quick, but we can kill them right here. Let's just set up right here. Just gotta swirl them. Let's go. I'm almost positive they're going to show up right in here. Let's see what happens. Little buck right here. Right here close. He just stepped out right here in the brush. He's gonna walk right up here to us. There you go. That's good. We've always rattled in. I can't begin to tell you how many bucks we rattle in from this ridge right here. There's a lot of deer right here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit them again. I know there's deer on this ridge. Close. Big buck. Close. That's a shooter. Got him. Yeah. Whew. That is a giant buck. Unbelievable. Look at that. I tell you folks, sometimes they walk in, sometimes when you're rattling, they charge in like this one did. Last day of this year, and this is the Ford Ranch at its finest. Not a better way to end it than that right there.
Just to reiterate, following the boss here, following that sound out of his chest, through his esophagus, out through his mouth, the Brawler is built just like it. A big beefy mouth end, the ESO tube that doesn't make any noise, and a hard cone shape. And as I mentioned earlier, it's got the ridge reed system. It will not freeze or stick under any hunting condition. This is not a trick. There's a full glass of water. I take that call, it is completely submerged in water. It'll work. Doesn't matter how much moisture builds up on your call. Whether it's a really quiet, crisp morning and you just need to suck it right down, call can do that. If it's a real windy, loud day and you got to cover some ground, close it down, you can get real loud on the call. Add inflection. As you can see, there's nothing you can't do with the Brawler. Team that up with a squeeze and bleat, you got a deadly combination.